Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. Happy Monday. Welcome to another market open stream. This week looks pretty good. We have some major things happening, but I think it's going to be a good week. So let's talk about why a new Bitcoin high is right around the corner, guys. And let's talk about other stuff too. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome. We are starting out the day at 115.2, 115.3. Pretty good recovery from our, I guess, 104 bottom from a couple weeks ago. Again, I think the fear, the FUD, obviously overblown. Okay, a couple weeks ago, everyone was crying that, the run was over, this and that, and everyone needs to go short, Bitcoin's going to fall below 100K, all this stuff that some people were calling for. Well, guess what? None of those things happened, right? And we're really not that far off from all-time high. That's why, can we make a new high? Is it right around the corner? Certainly. Especially this week. We have a lot of major things happening this week. Let's get to it. First of all, the US market is opening up in the green, I believe. Yes, pretty in the green, especially NASDAQ, which is always good. And you see all these things. Coinbase, Robinhood, Broadcom. I don't know why I have Zion's here. Even Tesla, all up. Okay, and what did I say? I said that this US and China dispute, this trade war, will be coming to an end. Okay, it's in the interest of both countries to come together and solve this immediately. It seems like we are getting closer and closer to that. Both presidents will be meeting this Thursday. But again, they're already trying to say that a deal is in the works. Treasury Secretary Bessent and also Trump, right? I did say they're working at this. They're going to resolve it, and they want this. They want the markets to soar. I know that one of the most important things for Trump in terms of gauging if whether or not he's doing a good job is if the stock market is soaring. Okay, so I know he is going to do what he can to make sure that the market flips up and continues upwards. And this is one of the ways, right? So this is coming this week, which will be huge. And I do think after all the back and forth after Thursday, probably Friday, something will be announced like, yeah, we got a tentative deal going. All is good and something along that lines. I think it's going to be good. This is one of the things. Another thing is, we got an FOMC meeting coming up on Wednesday. It's going to start tomorrow, and there's going to be that big press conference on Wednesday. Right now, it's a 96.7% lock, and December is a 95.8% lock. So I don't think investors or Wall Street really, cares about the next two. What they're going to be focused on is what he says about 2026. And, Powell is on his way out, right? But he will have at least, I believe, 3 FOMC meetings before he is gone. I think his tenure ends in May. So we got the January one, and then we got the March one, and then the April one, which is predicting we could go all the way down to about 3.25% to 3%, which would be a half basis point lower than December. I think that's what people are waiting for, to hear him say something about next year. Okay. But it's kind of hard to do so because all the data is still not coming out. Yes, we had a CPI report last week. They made an exception and it showed inflation ticking upwards, but came in lower than expected, which is good. This week, we have another one, PCE, but that's coming after the FOMC meeting. On Friday, you see all these asterisks. I don't know if they're going to make an exception and they're going to come out with them. And there's others like GDP that's coming out on Thursday. And then you got all these other ones that probably we're not going to get data for. So again, it's just ridiculous. They can't just send one person in to get all that data that's already compiled in their computer. Don't know why that is, but you know, I think overall the FOMC meeting is going to be positive. There's really nothing Powell can say. I mean, the 50 basis point coming starting this month, this week actually, and next in December, the next one, it's already priced in. There's nothing that can disrupt this. It's really what's going to come in 2026. And even if he's like, well, it's too early to discuss 2026, and maybe we have less rate cuts in 2026, still shouldn't disrupt the next 2 months. But maybe, I don't know. We will see. We will see. What else is good? Well, this, I guess you could say good or bad. We've been talking about Mt. Gox for years upon years upon years upon years. They have about $4 billion left to distribute. And according to the creditor, they're going to extend it for another year until October 2026. You know, there's one of those things like we wish they just rip off the Band-Aid and get it over with. But it just keeps on extending longer and longer and longer. It's a gift that never ends. But I guess the good thing is, you know, in 2026, in October, if we're sitting at 200,000 Bitcoin, it's better for them to sell off then and repay than now, right? So I guess this could be considered a good thing. Less sell pressure because they have about 30,000 Bitcoin they have to distribute. And I don't know if their plan is to sell it, give it in USDT or what. Yep. What else is good? Crypto funds bounce back with huge Bitcoin inflow. I don't know about huge, but we did bounce back. On Friday, we had 2 consecutive days of inflow. On Friday, BlackRock and Fidelity took in a decent amount. So overall, we had a net positive of about 91 million. Okay. The week before, a little rocky, but we came back strong a couple of days. Let's see how this week goes. It could be huge. Once again, we want to see the inflows turn very, very positive. Obviously, in the last few weeks, we got disrupted a little bit by gold and its run, but gold is starting to come down. If that bubble bursts, that's going to be a lot of liquidity coming in to other things like stocks and crypto, especially Bitcoin. Ethereum didn't have such a good Friday. Ethereum had a negative 101 outflow from BlackRock and overall negative 93.6. So that makes 3 consecutive days for outflow for Ethereum and a lot more before. So we'll see. We'll see if Ethereum turns around. But what about this new all-time high? Is it going to come? Well, a lot of people are expecting it's going to come this week or next week. Why? I mean, there's so many reasons for it. We had the biggest liquidation event. We cleared out all the leverage. We got a lot of big macro stuff coming, and even the charts are pointing that this is the right time. The last week of October, last week to flip in a green and make it October, it could happen. We have seen it before. In my video yesterday, I said, last year, the year before that, we saw things turn around late October. It's not over until it's over, so let's see what happens. Okay, and we're really not that far off from all-time high. 126, and we barely hit it before. We can get back right up there really fast. It's like 10% move. That's it. In addition to the charts, well, there's more I didn't show, but, you know, before we get to that, we got some big purchases. Bitplanet is trying to create a 10,000 Bitcoin reserve. They are in Korea with a 93 Bitcoin purchase. Of course, Sailor is never going to miss out on DCAing. Purchase another 390 Bitcoin. about $44 million, and keeps on increasing his pile, 640,808. Average price is 74,000, still in the green. Will we ever see 74,000 Bitcoin again? Unlikely. Let's just say that. Unlikely. So even though his cost average is going up, he's DCAing. He does not matter. He doesn't care if we go up. If he's DCAing up or down, he's going to be DCAing literally forever. American Bitcoin purchased 1,400 Bitcoin. Now they have 3865. This is the company between basically the Trump sons and also Hut 8. This is their like new venture together, American Bitcoin. So 1,400 Bitcoin is a big purchase. And now they're ranked number 26 already. Big purchase. Here's another company, OranjeBTC. Small buy, 7 Bitcoin buy, but it does not matter, okay? What matters is you form a strategy, a Bitcoin strategy in this case, and you just continue to load up over time, and it adds up. Just like everyone else that started low, now they're not so low anymore. So, again, you got a lot of accumulation. That's pretty much going to happen forever. I have a hard time seeing all these treasury companies all of a sudden saying, no, we're not buying anymore. Especially with Sailor and Bitplanet leading the way. All right, what else? Last few things. We had 174 million in liquidations as we went up this weekend. That's always good. Remember, the market makers are pretty fair when it comes to liquidating the heavier side. Either that's long or short. It just moves. You know, like some of these levels I show you guys, right? The heaviest levels. These market makers will move markets to liquidate. It could be on a short side. It could be on a long side. But I do think there's too much manipulation, though. Too much. And that has to be looked at sooner than later. All right. Here's something else in terms of chart-wise. If you remember the last cycle, okay, before the run up from 10,000 to 69,000, people forget that we spent a long time below 10,000. I bet most of you guys did not remember that. I remember that, yeah, we fell down below 4,000. We had a catastrophic day. But what I forgot, and I bet what most of you guys forgot, throughout 2020 and into 2021, Bitcoin was stuck below 10,000 for months upon months upon months. It's like almost a whole year. So if you think that, okay, like right now, you know, it's so boring, Bitcoin's not moving, while we're sitting above 100,000, imagine just last cycle being below 10,000, hovering around 6,000, going to 8,000, falling to 4,000, going up to 7,000, and then falling to 6,000. Imagine then. People thought that the bull run was over. There was no way that Bitcoin was going to go back up to 20,000 when we are hovering around $10,000. Not only did we surpass that 20,000 mark, we kept going. We even had in 2021 a fall from 64,000 back down to 28,000. And we still recovered back up to 69,000. That was mid bull run, a 50% drop. That's how crazy it was the last cycle. I think people don't realize how good they have it this cycle. You know that COVID crash right there. ETH fell below $100. It was like $80, $90. Okay, so if you're complaining about ETH being above 4,000, imagine it falling below 100. BNB at that time was like teens. Okay, it was like teens, like $18, $20. Sol didn't even exist at that time. So even though the alts may not be back at 2021 highs, right in 2020, they were next to nothing. Like literally worth nothing. So what they're worth now is way more than before. Tens to hundreds times more than what they were worth just a few years ago. So that's how amazing the market is, how far we have come, and that's why you should not be fearful, okay? Because we have seen much worse times before. We may be stagnant, but we're definitely not down and out, nowhere close to previous cycles, right? But this person, Ted, is arguing that, hey, what we're going through is very similar to COVID crash. It's really not, but the price movement, the chart kind of looks like it. Okay. That COVID crash was probably the worst thing ever. We fell down like 60% for Bitcoin from 10,000 all the way down to 4,000. There's a 60% drop within days. But guess what? We recovered. Even those days, people thought Bitcoin would go below 1,000 and die. It didn't happen. It did not happen. All right, what else? BNB chain completes a 1.21 billion token burn. People love burns. People ask me about burning for Clash. There's a couple things people need to know. Okay. Like BNB burning is great. But what are they burning? Are they buying and burning? No. They're not buying BNB on the spot market and burning it. What they're doing is just burning what they own. So it's not really doing anything. The circulating supply of BNB is still out there. They're just burning what they have. Okay, but they were holding on to it anyway, so there's no difference. It just sounds good from a PR perspective. But yeah, so some people need to understand what burning really means. Okay, and most companies cannot say, well, I'm going to take profits, go out and buy my own token, and then burn it. Because you know why they can't say that? Because then it constitutes it as a security. So people just need to understand what burning really means. Now, if a foundation does it, right? Great. But you got to understand, burning itself doesn't just automatically cause things to pump up. It doesn't work that way. Lastly, Ferrari is getting into the tokenization game. Supposedly, Ferrari does take both Bitcoin and ETH. So if you walked into a dealership, you could say, hey, I want to buy that new Ferrari with my Bitcoin and ETH. Supposedly that already opened. I haven't asked my dealership and my salesperson if that's actually true, because I have a feeling a lot of them just like, they're like, we have no idea what to do. All right. I don't know. I got to ask. But they're going to come out with some new crypto that's going to be like, basically they're going to tokenize this new like Ferrari 499p, and then you can buy a share of it with that new crypto. It's just RWA play. And supposedly they're only going to offer it to their Hyper Club members, a group of 100 elite Ferrari clients with a passion for endurance racing. That group of 100 are probably all centimillionaires or billionaires. Okay, so I don't know if they really want to buy a tokenized endurance car. They probably just want to buy the car. They want Ferrari to come out with 100 exclusive cars and they can charge whatever they want and they'll buy it. I don't know if this is going to work, honestly. This doesn't sound like they thought this through. All these rich billionaires, they're fairly old. They don't want to mess with tokens. They don't want to mess with crypto. They just want to buy things with their money. And Ferrari should just cater to that. They should just make these exotic high-end supercars, and they'll be sold out in minutes. Anyways, that's about it. U.S. market is still doing good. Look at Robinhood up almost 6%. I love Robinhood. I told you guys I was going to load up more when they dipped, and I did. Coinbase up a little bit. And Bitcoin is still holding strong. I just mentioned about BNB, about 1,100, 1,200. They're still down from their recent huge climb of 1,300. ETH is about 41.65. Sol's hovering right around 200. Yeah, and Clash is holding right around $60 million, right at the 7,000 holder mark, and it's just doing fantastic. We just concluded our T1 auction, raised a whole bunch of money, and that's going to be used to supply the liquidity pool, also for other initiatives. Pretty soon we're going to do T2 and then T3s. It's going to be amazing. And we got listed on BingX secretly. I just noticed on Friday or Saturday that, yeah, if you search for Clash on BingX, we're there. We're already on 5 exchanges: BingX, FEMIX, MEXC, LBank, WeX, and another one. This project is going to go very far, guys. Very far. If you fade it, you will be missing out. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Trevor says, did you have to buy a used Ferrari before you could buy a new one? No, that's a misconception. Now, there are exclusive, very exclusive Ferraris that they won't let you buy. You have to be on like a white list, okay, for that, because they're afraid people are going to buy and resell it. Ferraris does not allow people to resell unless it's like after a year or something. And if you get caught reselling, they just ban you from buying new Ferraris. So I did have a used Ferrari 360 before, but when I went to put in my down payment for my F8, they didn't say, oh, let me check your record to make sure you had it. No, they didn't do that. There are some lower end Ferraris that they will allow you to buy without being whitelisted. But you know, at least the good thing is they're not like Porsche that, you know, marks up their cars by $100, $150, $200,000, right? I hate dealerships that do that, and all Porsche dealerships do that. That's why I don't own any Porsches. Can't stand that. So at least Ferrari's honest about their pricing. I am talking. Oh, by the way, people that are on Coinbase Wallet and they looked at Clash, I don't know. That Clash is a fake Clash, and that's through their DEX. I don't know why they listed a fake DEX, fake Clash on Coinbase Wallet. Do not. If you're going to purchase, do not do that. You have to go on Phantom or Jupiter or one of the sexes and or Pump.fun, and you can find Clash. It's all on the webpage. All the information on the webpage or in Discord. I am going to be talking to Kraken today about Clash. Okay. You know, they noticed us a few weeks ago. They wanted to see if we can hold, you know, because a lot of projects come and go. And we are higher now than a few weeks ago. So I think that conversation is going to be productive. I don't know where it's going to go. But yeah. And I got a few things I'm working on behind the scenes too. Besides staking, which should be coming out soon, there is something I'm working on with DEX tools behind the scenes that I can't share. It's not guaranteed, but if we get it done, it's going to be a big deal. I mean, I'm just making moves left and right. Making moves, all the right moves to grow this project into a $1 billion project. And the Vegas party is coming. We took the snapshot of the top 500 holders. A lot of people are really looking forward to it. I am too. Do I have to play Clash Royale to be a Clash holder? No, you do not. But it adds to the fun. A lot of people are starting to play now and getting, accustomed to how things are. And we had a big prize tournament last Friday. Every week we will have one. And a lot of people enjoyed it because a lot of normal casual players made it to the top 10. And since they were heavy or loyal Clash holders, they actually had the prizes double. So that's always good to see. In the past, it was just all like semi-pros or pros winning. But this last week, I changed up the rules, made some adjustments, and actually just a lot of just regular Discord people made it to the top 10. So that's awesome to see. When you get to 1 billion, how much will your 5,600 Clash be? It'll be roughly like 30x more. So, I mean, you just take 1 billion divided by 60 million, whatever the multiplier is, that's, you multiply it by how much you hold, which is a lot. We've gotten to a point where we're established already. We're bigger than a lot of other community projects already. You remember Doge Elon Mars that people were asking me about, and I said I hate that name? We're above them already. We're above so many. A lot of these other projects, all they do is see their holder count decrease each and every week, and we're the only ones that's adding more holders each and every week. There's a big difference between what we're doing and everyone else. What's the connection between you and Clash? I founded a project, man. I'm the founder. I'm the dev of it. I'm not an anonymous person like all these other rugs that come out. And Pump.Fun still refuses to recognize us. We are by far the most successful and most legit project to come out of Pump.Fun in probably, I don't know, at least a year. And they refuse to tweet about us or put us on their trending. They keep highlighting all these others that have no traction or are rugs. I don't know why that is. I actually don't know why Pump.Fun does not give us more attention. And I've talked to the founder before, Anon, right? He knows who we are. He just refuses to talk about us, which is so weird. We're actually a legit project, and they refuse to talk about us. Oh man, Robinhood's flying. I told you guys my story, right? Like, I've been telling my friends, my close friends, to get into Robinhood options forever. And they've always, like, looked at other things, this and that and this, whatever, right? So finally, like, a few days ago last week, they decided to load up. And I bet they're up substantially today. I'm going to ask them afterwards. Robinhood is on an unstoppable run. It's not going to stop. It'll probably be like 180s or 200 by the end of this year. Coinbase up a little bit. They're still having a hard time staying above 400. I would like to see that if we do have that bull run. And they're going to have, oh, I forgot, Coinbase is going to have earnings this week. I'm hoping that earnings is good. I think it's on Thursday. That will be really good if they have a spectacular earnings for all crypto. Nvidia is up almost 3% today. That's good. Look at that recovery for Clash. A lot of people didn't believe and thought Clash was dead when we fell over here. But you know what? Those in Discord continue to hodl. They know me. They know my message. They believe that I'm going to take this project far. They held. They continued to DCA, and look at where we are. We actually made a new high last week, briefly. And I have a feeling we will get there. Now that we're beefing up the treasury with the NFT sales, we're going to have a lot of options. A lot of options. And the demand for these NFTs are way higher than I expected. Huge bids for the T1s. And now we'll be moving to T2s soon. And I think staking is going to add another concept to holding too. A lot of people that hold a lot of Clash, they're going to be earning their yield through staking pools. That's coming. Yeah, there's no one talking about Clash. There's no KOL pushes. None. That's also the amazing thing. And why it's also holding. Because most KOL pushes, what ends up happening is like right around here, or here, or here, they dump all of it. This time around, no KOLs. Nothing. No one else got involved with this project. I was the only one that was pushing it. No one else. And now they kind of ignore it and fade it, I guess, because they think it's too big. Because all these guys want to get in like at 1 million, and they usually sell at like 10 million, 20 million. They don't wait until it gets this big. They wish they get it this big, but most projects do not ever even break 50 million. Now they're kind of fading it because they're like, oh, it's too big and I should have got in early. Well, I mean, I was telling you guys about this when I launched it. I was telling everyone, and I was streaming. Dylan says, I have NVIDIA in my retirement portfolio. Do you think I'll ever top out? Should I hold on for dear life? I think you should hold on. NVIDIA right now seems like they have no competition. You know, they are on Mars already, while AMD is still like on Earth. That's how far the gap is. So I don't see anyone overtaking them, if ever, unless Jensen, you know, steps down and whoever the new CEO is really F's it up. But that's not going to be for some years. Right? Never say never. Like, I guess Intel, once upon a time, 20, 30 years ago, they were the dominant powerhouse, and they just didn't see the shift into GPUs or mobile, right? So never say never, but like right now, looking at the next 5 years, 10 years, no one is close. No one is close. I hold NVIDIA too. Rodney, do you see that pinned message? Learn about Clash here, and it points to a website called George Plays Clash Royale. That's what it's called. And you're in the live chat, so I know you could see that. I'm waiting for a stock market to crash in November before I pick up. I don't know, man. November is usually the most bullish month, even more so than October. So I don't know about that. And we did go through a mini correction with stocks. We just had it last week. We had a big correction for no reason on Wednesday. I'm like, and then a week before that was all red. So like we had a couple weeks of, I don't know about a couple weeks, like 1 week maybe, 1 week of a correction. I'll tell you, Trump does not want to see the stock market go down, okay? Oh, speaking of NVIDIA, Qualcomm announces AI chips to compete with AMD and NVIDIA. Um, yeah, not anywhere close. But I was saying this. I honestly think Trump gauges his performance based on the stock market. So he's not going to let the stock market go down very long. Okay. So he's going to do what he can to prop up the market. So because of that, I think the next 2 months is going to be fantastic. Have I played Moco by Supercell? No. I know people want me to play Clash of Clans. My kids do as well periodically, but I don't have time to make like a whole village. I guess I do have the time, but I just don't want to go through that process. I play games where you have to build a village and stuff. That doesn't interest me. I don't know about this Moco. 4,500 trophies. You need to go a little bit higher than that. I think the minimum is like 5,000 something, but I really want people that's 10,000 plus trophies to join the clan. $5,700 trophies. You're getting up there. Above 6,000 is when it gets really tough. Man, we just need that push. You know, I build Clash right now while we're kind of like, not so favorable market conditions, right? Like Sol, if Sol was back to like 230, 250, Clash would be so much stronger. But we have made this recover when Sol was in the 180s, 190s. I just can't imagine this time around if we have that big push upwards. Sol starts flying towards 1,000. ETH starts flying to 10,000. Bitcoin starts flying towards 180 and 200. That happened. Clash is flying towards 1 billion. There's no reason why it wouldn't be just like the best community project there is. ETF approvals are also around the corner. As long as people are working at the SEC. I don't know, people are working at the SEC. That's the thing. With the government shutdown, it seems like everyone just stopped working. I don't get how that works. You have like some funds to pay a few people to work. Like all this nonsense about like no economic data for the last 3 weeks. That's just ridiculous. It'll be crazy. There are fund makers that are trying to come out with these bucket ETFs, right? They're gonna come out with a meme one. They're going to come out with like they have a Doge one already, but they're gonna come out with probably a Doge Shiba Pepe one or whatever. If Clash gets big enough, we could be listed in one of those ETFs. Why not? But that's down the road, right? Gotta concentrate on what's now. Like, you gotta get bigger partnerships. DeFi Development Corp that came in last week is a huge thing. I'm going to interview the guys. Gotta have to set that up. Talk about their company, their Sol strategy, why they decided to, collaborate with us. But I'm going to keep pushing these partnerships or collaborations, keep pushing exchange listings, keep pushing on features and utility and these meetups, these events. Besides the one in Vegas, next year we could have one overseas in Europe or Asia, because I know a lot of people are in Europe, and I wouldn't mind going to Europe. I wouldn't know where to go. Where do you guys think would be a good meetup place in Europe? Like, what's a high concentration of, what country has a high concentration of crypto people? I'm assuming the UK. But I don't know. There's been some conference in Portugal. Amsterdam? I think Amsterdam would be fun. I think Amsterdam would be fun. I was there once when I was a kid. But now that I'm not a kid, I think it would be a fun place. I would like to go to Germany just to be able to drive on Autobahn. Dylan, I'm telling you, my goal is to get it to 1 billion. That is my goal. Before, my goal was to easily get it 45 million. Then afterwards, I said 50 million. Now, I don't think there's anything that stops us from going to 1 billion unless altcoin season doesn't happen. All right. If there's no altcoin season, Bitcoin continues to just slowly trend up in 2026. You know what? Then it won't happen as soon as I want, but I'm still going to try to make that my goal. You know, it's very important to have goals. And if you're hyper focused on that one goal, you could pretty much do it. And it could be anything. And I'm right now super hyper focused on growing Clash. I'm giving the honest truth. I spend basically all day outside my streams working on growing Clash. That's it. Transcendent Party. I don't want to attend Vegas. Can you reveal the secret via blockchain in real time, the top 500 and eligible NFT holders? What's the secret? It's all transparent. You could look at it. You could go see the holder count and what they're holding on SoulScan. I'm not sure what the secret is. You could see how much. When I took the snapshot, it was like roughly, I think, $10,800 was the 500th largest wallet, something like that. Ray, I have no idea what you're talking about. What P2P M87 P2P is. Zero clue about what you're talking about. Amsterdam is boring. Oh, he's talking about the big secret that night. Oh, it's good. There's gonna be a Zoom call. There's gonna be a Zoom call for the NFT holders and top 500 that can't go. Freddie, what do you want me to say about Stray Dog? They're the first partner of ours. They made a deal. They bought in because they wanted collab. And I bought in Stray Dog. But since then, what is there to talk about? Like, that's the difference, right? I have nothing against Stray Dog. But what is the difference, you know, between Clash and everyone else? We have stuff that actually we're doing. There's actually things coming, right? With everyone else, I don't know if there's anything coming other than cheerleading. So if you have some stuff to share about Stray Dog, you go ahead and tell me. Because I know with Clash, there's always things that I'm working on. I don't know about anyone else. That's the honest reality. That's why all these community projects, all these other memes, they just keep losing holders every week because there's nothing happening with them other than more cheerleading on X. Everyone just cheerleaders on X and that's it. And they do, like, you know, random giveaways, but they give it in the token that they have, and then what ends up happening is everything they're given is sold off. Am I still affiliated with DFK? I guess I'm still an advisor. I still hold on to my jewel, but really haven't heard anything new. Gaming projects in the space besides Clash are all struggling hard. There's no momentum in any of them. Getting it's pretty obvious. Getting Web 2 people into Web 3 is very, very hard. Very hard, especially if you're trying to build a new base. But Clash is different. I think I figured out a system that actually works. I mean, it is working. So I think it's going to keep working. They have the best peer-to-peer exchange. I don't know what a peer-to-peer exchange is. Why would you need that? Why not just the DEX? Why would you want to have a peer-to-peer exchange? And you know, in America, that's actually illegal. You can't actually sell crypto directly to someone else, supposedly, okay, unless the rules change. But back in the day, there was a site called Local Bitcoins where you can sell peer-to-peer, like from one person to another, like Bitcoin. And in the US, and this was years ago, but people got caught saying that they needed to have some kind of license or something like that. So actually peer-to-peer in the United States was actually illegal. But again, I don't know if they changed that rule. SEC has been relaxing on all its rules. Market is cooling off a bit. We just need to go full send mode. Still looking forward to it. Could happen this week. We got a lot of big things happening, but I can't wait until we have that full send moment once again. We saw it last year. I think we're going to see it this year soon. Dylan, last week would have been better for both because they were down, right? With options, you got to be... Options is basically like almost like leverage in a way because you're buying basic contracts for 100 shares of it, but you're getting it, you're only paying the premium price, which is a lot less than actually buying 100 shares of it. And you're betting on time, right? Like how high something could go before a time, because then with how options work is you're either trying to buy it after that time, the expiration date, or you're selling it. But really the best way to think about it is you're just betting how high it's going to be at a certain time. Early on in my career, when I did options, I kept losing and losing and losing and losing because I was always too greedy, didn't understand what I was actually getting involved with in terms of companies. Now that I'm older and learn from those mistakes, I think options are the greatest money makers in stocks. But you have to really understand the company that you're investing in because there's a lot of quarterlies that can upset the price. There could be like competition that comes out something that upset the price. So what I look at are clear market leaders. So like Nvidia, for example, if they have a bad week, they have a bad month, it does not matter to me because I'm buying an option that's 6 months out and I know they're going to recover because they have no competition. They're a clear market leader. That's why they're the biggest company on the planet. There's nothing with the next 6 months that's going to be catastrophic for them. Even with China, US banning China from buying Nvidia, it does not matter because they continue to be sold everywhere else and to the big tech companies that want to expand, right? That's an obvious example. Why I like Robinhood so much is Obviously, they've been doing really well, but I just look at it from this perspective. Where do all the young people trade their stocks and crypto? Crypto, maybe you could argue like Coinbase, but outside of Coinbase, where do all the young people trade? Robinhood. Where do all the young people trade stocks? Do they go on Charles Schwab? No, they go on Robinhood. So they're a clear market leader when it comes to trading, especially degen trading, or even option trading, or stock trading. So that's why I believe in them so much. And they're still relatively small market cap. So, and I bet on them hugely this year, and it has worked out. So I just look at market leaders, right? And I try to time it right. I don't go so greedy. Like 6 months out, I'll probably pick a premium price that's only 20 or 30% higher. I used to pick like premium price that's like 100% or 200% higher, and if you miss out, then you lose the contracts basically. But not anymore. But it's best to get in when the market turns red, not like when it's up. Arab G, it goes according to like someone backed out of two because they have multiple bids. So it's just going down the list. So if yours come up, I just sent 2 more emails this morning. If your bid is one of the higher bids, then you get a chance. But otherwise, I have to make it fair to everyone that did submit a bid. And I don't know why you didn't submit a bid earlier, because those bids are just based on previous bids. It didn't have to be last minute. Why didn't you apply? Why are you? I'm not trying to pick on you, but if you wanted it, why didn't you apply earlier? And what was the point of waiting to the end? They were blind auctions. You couldn't see what anyone else was offering. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Let's do some giveaways here. 20 to 51 entries. All right, so as most of you guys know, I've been doing Clash giveaways, but with Sol. I'm not giving Clash away, I give Sol away. So there are a lot of impersonators and a lot of fake sites that say, well, there's Clash giveaways, connect your wallet. Don't do it, you're going to lose all your money. So all you have to do is go on the page, right? Enter your Sol wallet, and if you have the minimum amount of Clash, which is 2,000, you get eligibility to get, you know, these Sol giveaways. And I've been doing them every single day pretty much for a month now, at least a month. All right, let's pick 3 winners. And if you hold more than a minimum and you meet these multiplier tier requirements, then good for you. First person selected has 50,000 Clash in their wallet, so they get 1.5 multiplier. Congrats. Second person has 10,000. Congrats. And third person, let's see, not eligible. Okay, they don't hold enough, or they sold off. This person, wow, 1 million Clash, gets the 3x multiplier, so you get 0.6 Sol. So that's right there. That's over a Sol given away. I'll give this out shortly, but again, it's that simple. Clash is going to be what I put all my efforts into, but I am rewarding the Clash holders with these giveaways and prize tournaments. I want everyone to get involved, not just cheerleading. We actually have things going on. So make sure you check us out. Outside of that, that's it, guys. Stay strong. Let's see what happens this week. We have major things happening that could certainly drive Bitcoin to a new high. All right? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys.